Why is this? Did I cross into a fake prehistoric? In the primordial mountain forest, Feng Zikan is running desperately. Behind him, a ferocious beast, carrying a fierce aura, kept getting closer to him. It doesn't matter if you travel through the wilds, it's not a congenital or devil, why can't you even get a congenital heel? Feng Zikan evaded the hunting of the beast, while complaining in his heart. Yes, Feng Zikan is a traveler, a Chinese who came here from modern society. At first, after learning that he had come to a wild world, Feng Zikan was full of excitement and excitement. After all, this place is prehistoric. There are countless innate spiritual treasures, heaven and earth treasures can be seen everywhere, and you can live forever with ease. But afterwards, when Feng Zikan learned of his own situation, he couldn't help but feel a trace of despair in his heart. As everyone knows, Honghuang is a world whose destiny is determined. All the great supernatural powers are born of innate gods and demons, and even their disciples and sects have innate footsteps for the first time. And he Feng Zikan, born in 10 generations of human race, the first acquired creature in the prehistoric world, and deservedly the weakest creature in the prehistoric world. His birth lowered the realm level of the primordial realm, setting a new low of the realm of the primordial realm, and let the realm of the primordial realm know that there is still such a realm as the day after tomorrow. After all, before Feng Zikan was born, Honghuang had a total of 8 realms: congenital, earth immortal, heaven immortal, mysterious immortal, golden immortal, Deluo golden immortal, quasi-sage, and saint. After he was born, he had an additional acquired realm before his innateness, and became the 9 realms, which can be said to have created a great history. It is only a few thousand years since the Emperor Wa has become a saint, and the era of great prosperity is about to usher in the most prosperous era, which is the time when the innate spirit is most active. The primordial spirit is not the descendant of the innate gods and demons, but is created by the innate aura. It is infiltrated by the innate aura every day, and the lowest born is the innate state. But the human race is different. The human race is formed by the Emperor Wa collecting the 3 light divine water and mixing it with the 9-day breathing soil, plus his own essence and blood. It is an acquired life itself. However, the 3 lights divine water, the 9 heavens breathing soil, and the essence and blood of the Emperor Wa are all congenital sacred objects. The first generation of human races created by the integration of the 3, although they were born after birth, are congenital and do not belong to the postnatal beings. It's a pity, Emperor Wa, who died in the 9th century. After Wa Emperor became sacred, he rushed to open up a great world out of the sky, placed the newly born human race on the shore of the East China Sea, and left. The human race was born. Except for the generation of human race made up by the Emperor Wa, the rest of the people are witty, ignorant, and follow instinct. The coast of the East China Sea, with vast land and abundant resources. The human race lives here, thirsty drinking mountain springs, hungry eating wild fruits, not worrying about their livelihoods, and doing nothing all day long. Driven by instinct, a group of primitive people started the human creation movement in broad daylight. In this way, the 2nd generation human race was born. As if history is repeating itself, the 2nd generation of human races began the life of a generation of human races, 3 generations, 4 generations, generation after generation. Until Zi's body was covered with leaves, animal skins kept out the cold, there was a nest structure as a nest, the Swirens drilled wood to make fire. The human race's spiritual wisdom started to realize the shame, and then this kind of life ended. It's just that after the 9th generation, the innate chi in the human race was exhausted. After the birth of the 10th generation of the human race, that is, after Feng Zikan was born, it was completely transformed into acquired chi. At this point, the human race is no longer innate. After Lingzi was opened, the human race faced new problems. How should so many people survive? In the wild world, the weak eats the strong, and the strong is the truth. Human races are numerous and weak, so they naturally become prey of all races. For a time, there are countless deaths and injuries among the races. While Feng Zikan was on the way out looking for food, unfortunately, he was spotted by a fierce beast. As the weakest creature in the primordial realm, he is certainly not the opponent of this fierce beast of the innate realm, and only then has the previous seen. The fierce beast roared, tired of the game of cat chasing mice, speeding up fiercely, and rushing towards Feng Zikan. At this time, Feng Zikan suddenly tripped over a raised stone on the ground and fell on the ground. The fierce beast passed over him and bumped its head against the tree. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Feng Zikan hurriedly got up from the ground, took out 2 stones with sparks, and smashed them at the fierce beast. These 2 stones contained the power of merit, and they were very extraordinary. After a few strokes, they smashed the beast to death. At the corpse of the fierce beast, he kicked a few feet like a relief, and then Feng Zikan picked up the corpse and strode back to the human tribe. Sui Ren clan drilled wood to make fire, lit up the fire of civilization for the human race, and the fire of inheritance created the first surname of the human race Feng, and thus established the Sui people tribe. Zikan, are you injured? Before Feng Zikan returned to the tribe, Swiren appeared in front of him and asked with concern. I have seen So Wang. Seeing Swiren, Feng Zikan quickly put down the dead beast's body and saluted, I'm fine. Didn't I say that your food is provided by the clan? Why do you want to go out hunting? What should you do if you encounter danger? Swiren pointed at the dead beast, a little puzzled. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. So Wang, rest assured, I am born with great fortune, and I have more merits to protect my body, but I will be lucky and there will be nothing wrong. Feng Zikan's voice is full of confidence. It's not that he brags, he does have great luck. Today, he will suddenly fall, because luck played a role. The birth of Feng Zikan added a realm to heaven and earth, the Hushan realm. Therefore, when he was born, the heavens and the earth changed color, the laws roared, the sound of the Tao was endless, and the golden flowers fell. But it was the birth of a new realm that the way of heaven felt, and the heaven and the earth were further improved, giving the profound merits and virtues. In the future, whenever someone reaches the acquired state, he will be able to get a trace of luck. Is also because when he was born, the movement was too terrifying. The Swiren thought that Feng Zikan was born sacred and would lead the human race to prosperity. So, he brought Feng Zikan around and taught him personally. If not, Feng Zikan would have died early. You know, after him, many 10 generations of human races were born, and as a result, they all died early due to their weak physique. In addition, Feng Zikan invented the method of sparking fire with flint in order to maintain the natural sacred character, and also obtained some heaven and earth merits. Those 2 merit flints came from this. Nonsense, there are more people with merit and luck in heaven and earth. How many survived to the end? Seeing him like this, Swiren couldn't help but said in a deep voice, you will protect your body with merit like this, and go around dangers. Sooner or later, you will meet. Same as them. Sensed that Swiren was a little angry, Feng Zikan didn't dare to get under his skin anymore, and quickly promised, So Wang, don't worry, I will never run around in the future. Swiren nodded in satisfaction, and took him to the tribe. Over the years, Feng Zikan's performance has made him feel that Feng Zikan was sent by God to prosper the human race. Therefore, he became more concerned about Feng Zikan's safety. Why? Sitting cross-legged on the boulder, Feng Zikan sighed long, his heart full of melancholy. He is dying. If nothing happens, he will be old in more than 90 years. In this era before reincarnation, Feng Zikan is not an immortal, and without the ability to reincarnate, he is really dead if he dies. The postnatal beings have a lifespan limit. They are not congenital, and only have a lifespan of more than 100 years. More than 100 years, in Feng Zikan's previous life, it counts as longevity. But here, the prehistoric world with 10,000 years as the time unit seems a bit inconspicuous. especially those with great supernatural powers, who have been in retreat for millions of years at every turn, and 100 years is nothing more than a blink of an eye for them. But these 100 years have been Feng Ziken's life. Moreover, since Pangu opened up the world, there have been countless lives, and I have never heard of anyone who died because of exhaustion of lifespan. It is enough to die, after all, I died once. But death will become a joke in the prehistoric world, which is uncomfortable. Took a deep breath and swallowed the innate qi into his abdomen. Feng Ziken tried to refine it, but unfortunately, as he exhaled, the innate qi flowed out. Damn acquired body, is it true that heaven will kill me? He cursed bitterly. Feng Ziken thought that this was because Tiandao deliberately wanted to kill him. In the world, the innate aura is strong, and the acquired realm exists in name only. But Feng Ziken, who knows the development of later generations, understands that after the Lich War, the innate aura disappears, and the acquired realm will replace the innate realm and become the first realm of cultivation. At that time, as the creator of the acquired realm, Feng Ziken, with the blessing of infinite luck, can prove to loyal when lying down, work harder, Quasisage is not a dream. And as long as Feng Ziken dies, these luck will return to the hands of Tiandao. If you don't keep everything, if you don't cross, the first person who was originally acquired is the gods who calculated death. Feng Ziken became suspicious of Tiandao, and blamed all evil on Tiandao. For a while, his heart became more disrespectful to Tiandao. At this moment, in Feng Ziken's mind, a purple Dao seal gleamed slightly, sweeping away his distracting thoughts and regaining his clarity. After waking up, Feng Ziken was a little scared. This is a prehistoric thing, and the way of heaven is alive. He looked around quickly, and he was relieved when he found that no scourge appeared. Focused his attention on the Dao Yin in the sea of knowledge, Feng Ziken started to stay in a daze. The purple Dao Yin is called Hongmeng Dao Yin, which is a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. After Feng Ziken came to Hong Huang, this Dao Yin appeared in his sea of knowledge. In the past 10 years, whenever he is free, he has been staring at Hongmeng Dao Yin. But I almost saw the flowers, except for the discovery that Dao Yin can keep people clear, nothing else. Do you really have to wait until the taking Taoist speaks on the Golden Core Avenue before the born creatures can practice? The Emperor was proving the Dao for only 1,000 years. When the taking Taoists came to the human race and started speaking on the Golden Core Road, I still don't know how many tens of thousands of years. When the time comes, I am afraid that my bones will be ashes. Feng Ziken's heart is full of unwillingness. The acquired body, in this era of innate creatures, it seems out of place. Bathed in the innate aura, according to Feng Ziken's thoughts, the body should sublimate autonomously and move closer to the innate body. But the reality is that as an acquired body, the innate qi does not bother to approach him at all. While Suwang and the others created the exercises for the tribe, Feng Ziken couldn't practice, because their exercises were all based on the yin god to control the innate energy, strengthen the yin god, and replenish the flesh. Yin god, born from the combination of soul and own innate qi, only innate realm can condense, so Feng Ziken does not. Refining refined qi, refining qi to transform gods, refining gods to return to the emptiness, return to the emptiness and harmony. These 16 characters are memories brought by Feng Ziken from later generations. They contain the concept of practice in the prehistoric world, from which the Taoist Jindan road of taking evolved. Feng Ziken originally thought he could shine with them, but the reality slapped him severely. He couldn't even do the most basic inducing qi into the body, let alone practicing. Can I just wait to die? Let out a long sigh, Feng Ziken was about to go back to eat. In this prehistoric world full of discrimination, only food can bring him warmth. The fierce beast hunted today is enough for him to eat for several days. As for why it is not divided among the tribesmen, that's because they look down on it. A fierce beast of innate realm, any adult in the clan can hunt it down. In addition, Feng Ziken is the weakest in the entire human race. Who is embarrassed to divide his things? The primitive man who has just turned on his wisdom still retains his simple essence. They were afraid that Feng Zichen would be threatened when he went out, and even refused to let him go hunting, and took the initiative to bring food. Feng Zichen secretly remembered these actions. But as a self-motivated person, why would he be willing to eat and wait for death? Therefore, every period of time, he would sneak out, relying on his merits, to hunt down some fierce beasts. Take out a polished stone and read the book www.yuyuganshu.com. Feng Zichen cut up the meat of the beast, put it in the prepared clay pot, and boiled it. This clay pot was made by Feng Zichen with mud, and no mana was used in the whole process. Therefore, after the earthen jar was born, merits from the heavens flew into him and the earthen jar respectively. After a while, the meat was cooked, and Feng Zichen couldn't wait to eat it. Eating is the only way he can make progress when he came to Honghuang for 10 years. It is also the motivation to support him to live. Swallowing the fierce beast meat, a warm current rises from Feng Zichen's stomach and flows to the whole body, constantly strengthening his body. It's a pity that Feng Zichen is a mortal body after all, and he reached the limit without eating much, and he couldn't eat it anymore. Every time after eating, Feng Zichen hates himself for being unsatisfied and can't eat much. According to this method of eating, if you want to reach the innate state, you will not necessarily succeed until you die. But he can't do anything, except to eat. He can no longer find a way to improve. After tidying up, Feng Zichen ran out, preparing for strenuous exercise to accelerate the energy consumption of the body, so that he could come back and continue to eat. As soon as he walked out of the cave, Feng Zichen saw a group of people not far away, not knowing what he was doing. Ziai Chen, come and have a look. Emperor Chao and the others have captured a unicorn alive. Seeing Feng Zichen, someone in the crowd shouted. Kiran! This is a legendary beast. It is said that Feng Zichen has been here for so long and has not seen what a beast looks like. With curiosity in his heart, he hurried over. Looked up, a dragon-head moose body and a dragon-tailed beast appeared in front of Feng Zichen. It's just that the state of this beast is a little wrong. The unicorn is supposed to be a holy beast, but this unicorn exudes a huge evil aura, which is more frightening than ordinary beasts. No wonder the Emperor Chao dared to catch this unicorn. It turned out that it had fallen into a fierce beast. Looking at the look of this unicorn full of evil spirits, Feng Zichen knew in his heart that it had been polluted by evil spirits, completely lost its intelligence, and lost its name as a beast, and became a fierce beast hated by the world. If this were not the case, the Emperor Chao and the others would not dare to hunt the unicorn. After all, the unicorn is an auspicious beast, and if you kill it ominously, it will impair your own luck. Feng Zichen watched for a while, and planned to leave. This unicorn has at least the cultivation base of the heavenly fairyland, and he can kill him if he breathes out. Usually, when he encounters this kind of creature, he hides far away. If it hadn't been in a coma now, Feng Zichen would never get close. Just about to leave, the Hongmeng Daoyin in the Sea of Knowledge suddenly flickered, guiding him to approach the Kailan. Feeling the change of Hongmeng Daoyin, Feng Zichen was extremely excited. After 10 years, Hongmeng Daoyin finally has a response. Is his golden finger opening up? Following the guidance of Hongmeng Daoyin, Feng Zichen placed his hand on the Kailan fierce beast. The place where started was cold, and then, a chill mixed with chaos, followed his arm towards his sea of consciousness. In the sea of knowledge, Hongmeng Daoyin gleamed slightly, and the chaotic meaning of invading the sea of consciousness was wiped out before it started to take effect. Feng Zichen couldn't help but hit a Jiling. Fortunately, there was the Hongmeng Daoyin body, otherwise, the chaos just now could destroy his spiritual intelligence and turn him into a monster that only knows about destruction. The trembling from the fingertips pulled Feng Zichen's thoughts back, causing him to focus on the Kailan fierce beast. The unicorn lay on the ground, breathing unconsciously, and the surrounding innate qi continued to pour into its body and scattered into its limbs along with its breathing. Feng Zichen looked a little envious. This was the scene he dreamed of, vomiting innate aura and strengthening his body. It's a pity that what he couldn't do with all his hard work was nothing but instinct for Kylan. Listening to Kylan's breathing, Feng Zichen seemed to hear a certain rhythm. Perceiving closely, he found that while the unicorn was swallowing and vomiting, the scales were one and the other, flesh and blood was trembling, and the body made a thunderous sound. The trembling sensation I felt before was emitted when the unicorn breathed. Inexplicably, Feng Zichen began to breathe according to the rhythm of Kylan's breathing, and a slight sound was emitted from his body. In the sea of knowledge, wisps of merit rushed towards Hongmeng Dao Yin. Hongmeng Dao Yin absorbed the energy of merit and emitted a misty purple light, illuminating Feng Zichen's sea of consciousness. In a trance, Feng Zichen felt as if he had turned into a unicorn, breathing according to a certain special rhythm, and strange feelings surfaced in his heart. Outside, when the Hongmeng Dao Yin shines, Feng Zichen's breathing rhythm has changed, similar to that of a unicorn, but with subtle differences. It is these differences that make this breathing method more suitable for him. After Feng Zichen's breathing method was adjusted, he felt an unprecedented relaxation, and his whole body was glowing. The stomach is shrinking rapidly, and a stream of heat gushes out from it. That is the fierce beast meat that I ate just now, and it is now being quickly digested. The blood is flowing fast, making a rattling sound, and it flows all over the body with the energy spouting from the stomach. Rumbling, like a thunderous sound, Feng Zichen's bones vibrated violently, prompting the body to absorb this energy faster. Especially his spleen burst out with a yellow light, and a figure of a unicorn is faintly beating. The change of Feng Zichen has attracted the attention of many people. Everyone stared at him with worried eyes, not knowing whether the change in him was good or bad. Ren's figure flashed, and he appeared beside Feng Zichen with a solemn expression, and he took a long sigh of relief and relaxed. Although Renshi did not know why Feng Zichen had changed, he perceives that this change is developing in a good direction, which is extremely beneficial to Feng Zichen. So, he waved his hand to disperse the crowd, silently guarding Feng Zichen's side. After for a while, Feng Zichen was awakened by a pang of hunger, and couldn't help but stop breathing. Hungry, so hungry. After waking up, there was a huge sense of hunger. Feng Zichen's stomach rang, and he now wished to eat the beast in front of him alive. The Swiren clan heard the sound from Feng Zichen's stomach, smiled slightly, took out a spirit fruit and handed it to him. Feng Zichen discovered Swiren next to him. He didn't pay the courtesy, and quickly grabbed the linguo and stuffed it into his mouth. The huge energy dissipated in his body, greatly alleviating his hunger, and Feng Zichen groaned contentedly. Suwang, why are you here? After regaining consciousness, Feng Zichen asked. Are there any abnormalities in your body? Swiren asked with concern instead of answering his question. Mentioned this matter, Feng Zichen immediately became excited, and said excitedly, Suwang, I am fine, I have found a way to become stronger, look. Talking, Feng Zichen practiced Kylan breathing method to Swiren. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. When Feng Zichen first came to Honghuang, he was muddled for 3 years. For the past 3 years, Sui Renshi has been taking care of him. Otherwise, he would not survive a baby. Therefore, he respects Swiren very much and has the most cordial relationship with him. Breathing method is working, Feng Zichen's whole body is trembling, glowing, blood is accelerating, and even a rushing sound is heard. The spirit fruit that I ate just now was quickly refined and turned into a burst of heat that spreads into the limbs and corpses, gradually strengthening Feng Zichen's body. Sui Renshi looked at this scene in amazement, and his heart was full of incredible. Feng Zichen couldn't cultivate, he certainly knew, for this, he thought of many ways, but none of them worked. Finally, he heard that there are countless rare treasures in the Dragon Palace, so he planned to go to the East China Sea Dragon Palace in a few years to obtain spiritual fruit and forcibly raise Feng Zichen's realm. Unexpectedly, he actually thought of a way by himself. but he can only say that he is naturally sacred. The emergence of breathing method is of great significance to the human race. Human race wants to multiply, the emergence of 10 generations of human race is inevitable. However, the 10 generations of human races, who are born after birth, cannot adapt to the innate environment, and most of them died prematurely. Now, Feng Zichen has created the breathing method, which can make the acquired human race stronger step by step, which can be said to save the human race's future. As the head of the human race, the Swiren clan naturally understands the importance of breathing to the human race. After receiving the breathing method taught by Feng Zichen, Swiren urged him to practice well, and then left in a hurry. Feng Zichen excitedly returned to his cave, planning to eat the remaining fierce beast meat. The essence of breathing method is to accelerate one's own metabolism and extract energy from food to strengthen the body. Therefore, the more you eat, the faster your strength will improve. Under the rising sun, Feng Zichen moves the breathing method. The sound of rolling thunder came from his body, his whole body was glowing, and his internal organs were even more gorgeous. The heart burst into red light, as if it was burning, and the figure of a Suzaku was looming. The spleen bursts out with yellow light, it looks very thick, and the figure of a unicorn is faintly revealed. The lungs burst out with white light, exuding sharp aura, revealing the shadow of a white tiger. The kidneys burst out with black light, with a soft aura, forming the shape of a tortoise and a snake. The liver burst out with a blue light, surging with vitality, and a blue dragon swims in it. Following Feng Zichen's breathing, the 5 internal organs vibrated violently, as if a certain connection had been reached. The 5 internal organs were connected with each other, and the 5-color light circled endlessly. A huge suction force came from Feng Zichen's body, and the sun's brilliance was sucked into it, expanding the 5 internal organs. Since Feng Zichen learned the breathing method from Kailan Fierce Beast, it has been a year. Over the past year, Feng Zichen has spent a lot of merits, and with the help of Hongmeng Dao Yin, he has successively comprehended the Suzaku breathing method, the White Tiger breathing method, the Basalt breathing method, and the Blue Dragon breathing method. Feng Zichen was in the era of information explosion in his previous life, and he has some understanding of the theory of yin and yang and the 5 elements. For example, the 5 elements contain all things, and the 5 elements rotate and derive fortune. These cognitions made him understand that the convergence of the 5 elements has great good fortune. Is as weak as him, so naturally he can't find the 5 elements. But the 5 internal organs of the human body correspond to the 5 elements of heaven and earth, he still knows. Kailan breathing method is comprehended from the unicorn, other breathing methods can also be comprehended from the fierce beast. The 5-element beasts are the beasts of heaven and earth. They are extremely powerful in strength and background, and the human race will never provoke them. With the greatness of the predicament, it is already a good luck to meet a fallen unicorn. If you want to meet the 4 heads, they still have different attributes. However, there is no way for people. The 4 sacred beasts suppress the 4 poles of the heavens and the earth, and their figures are engraved in the heavens and the earth, but all of the same creatures have their blood remaining. With the help of the Swiren clan, Feng Zichen comprehended the 4-image breathing method from the tiger, bird, tortoise, and sacred beasts. Sure enough, the 5 elements are accomplished, and good fortune emerges. The 5 internal organs bloom with 5 colors and are connected to each other to form the image of the cycle of the 5 elements. The 5 elements cycle back and forth, forming a furnace in Feng Zichen's body, receiving the essence of the sun and attracting the blooms of the Taiyan, using the 5 elements of fire to refine the essence of the sun and the moon to strengthen the flesh. Feng Zichen, who had already reached its limit, was helped by the essence of the sun and the moon, and immediately aroused the innate spirit from the mother's womb. Pangu was transformed into all things, and the true spirit was scattered between the heaven and the earth. Therefore, all prehistoric creatures, no matter innate and nurture, have innate spirits. The difference between the first and the last is nothing more than that the primordial spirit of the innate creatures evolved directly from the innate spirit, the innate spirit of the acquired creatures only has a trace, which is hidden deep in the body. The combination of the innate spirit and the essence of the sun and the moon suddenly grew in a circle and rushed towards Feng Ziken's belly button. Boom! As if opening the world, a deafening noise came from Feng Ziken's ear. A line of innate qi followed Feng Ziken's belly button and surged into his body, opening up a divine sea in his body. When the fetus is in the womb, the fetus is connected to the fetus by the umbilical cord to deliver nutrition to it. After birth, this connection was cut off. Now, the innate spirit in Feng Ziken opens his belly button and establishes the connection between him and heaven and earth, which is equivalent to treating heaven and earth as a mother and fetuses and innate qi as nourishment, and nurturing oneself with heaven and earth. Feng Ziken's navel is glowing, and there is a huge sound of ocean waves. This is the vision of Shenhai's successful development. Shenhai formed, and a suction force came, pulling Feng Ziken's consciousness in. I saw that the Shenhai was empty, and there was only a mouthful of spring water spouting out of the Shenhai, constantly filling the Shenhai. In the dark, a message appeared in Feng Ziken's mind, letting him understand the cultivation of the Shenhai realm. Constantly growing the Ming Chuan, waiting for it to fill the Shenhai, is the cultivation process of Shenhai. Suddenly, Ming Chuan ejected 3 rays of light, floating above the sea of consciousness. An incomparably holy and endless stream of good fortune, evolving into a ghost phantom with a human head and a snake body. A thick and heavy, exuding the breath of carrying all things, it has evolved into a human body with a snake tail, 7 hands on the back, hands on the chest, and both hands hold the ghost of a snake. A line of brilliance, the sun, the moon, and the stars appear together, evolved into a phantom wearing a diadem suit, wearing a purple gold crown, and holding a jade ruyi. However, the face of this is vague, not as clear as the other 2. Does this allow me to choose my own path? Looking at the phantoms of the 3 gods above the Sea of God, Feng Ziken whispered to himself. The human race is a mixture of the 9 heavens breath soil, the 3 light divine water, and the Emperor Wa, and the body contains the breath of the 3. Now that Feng Ziken has stepped into the door of practice, if he wants to be one step closer, he has to get rid of the acquired body and go against the innate. The Sea of Gods was opened, and the fountain of life emerged, stimulating the 3 pre-existing breaths in Feng Ziken's body, allowing him to choose one to practice and evolve the innate body. Ming Chuan is very considerate, not only affects the weather, but also evolves the future for Feng Ziken. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com shows the ultimate achievement of the avenue. One way of good fortune, incarnate into the of good fortune Nuwa. One of the ways of the earth, incarnate into the of the earth Ho-Tu. One way of the stars, incarnate as the Lord of the Stars Zaiwei the Great. Without hesitation, Feng Ziken chose Avenue of Stars. God has shown it very clearly on the sea and the sky, and the way of good fortune and the way of the earth have been proven by people. Unless they fall in the future, otherwise choose these 2 roads, Tei is the end, there is never the possibility of Deluo. Nuwa has been sanctified, immortal and immortal. Not long after, Ho-Tu became reincarnation, immortal and immortal. These 2 roads have long been blocked. But the face of Emperor Zaiwei was blurred, and it was obvious that no one had witnessed the stars. The purple is not out, the sun and the moon are respected. Think about it, too, now that Dijun, as the Lord of Heaven and Earth, leads the prehistoric stars as the Lord of the Sun, how could it be possible for Zaiwei Seeing to give birth to gods and demons and add obstacles to himself? When the great Emperor Zaiwei was born, it would be another trouble to compete with him for the identity of the Lord of the Stars. Furthermore, as a later generation, Feng Ziken knew well that the great Emperor Zaiwei was born after he was enshrined in the gods, and Ji Bakao was a mortal person. I will never be inferior to a mortal. Thinking like this, Feng Ziken merged with the aura of the stars, and the other 2 auras saw this, crashing and merging into the aura of the stars, making it stronger. Can shine from Feng Ziken's body, a rumbling sound resounded in the divine sea, the Ming Chuan transformed into the attributes of the stars, and all the innate aura around him poured in to help him stabilize his realm, no longer the previous disdain. It was also at this time, Feng Zichen suddenly felt an incomparably huge, incomparably majestic, but staring at him without the slightest emotion. This is the way of heaven. Feng Zichen opened up the Sea of God and stepped into the door of spiritual practice. Heavenly Dao perceives that someone opens a line of self and opens up a path of practice for the acquired beings, and deliberately lowers his gaze to give a test. To practice, to seize the opportunity of heaven and earth to supplement oneself, is to go against the sky. Nowadays, when new roads appear, they will naturally be tested. After passing, the new system will last forever in the world. The muffled thunder sounded, the sky suddenly changed, and the dark clouds gathered on Feng Zichen's head, covering the surrounding area for dozens of miles. The cloud of robbery is pitch black, and there is no semi-differential manifestation. Sometimes the electric light flickers, and sometimes the thunder is rolling, as if to destroy everything. This is God's punishment, not God's catastrophe. Before the Lich weighed the calamity, there was no catastrophe between the heavens and the earth, only the punishment of the sky. In this world, there are innate creatures everywhere in the world. They are born to nurture them. They are derived from big props and laws. They are all people with deep roots. Where can there be any tribulations? Heavenly tribulation, that is after the birth of the acquired creatures. Heavenly Dao deeply feels that the roots of the acquired creatures are inferior, lack of virtue, and have uneven aptitudes. The catastrophes specially set up are specially used to eliminate those with insufficient roots. Feeling the horror above his head, Feng Zichen's face turned green. This is for him to die. Such a terrifying aura, he has only felt it in the celestial clan. He, a little monk who was not born. In this world, even the ants are not counted. How can he to compare with the celestial punishment? Just when Feng Zichen was desperate, the energy of merit in his body suddenly brightened, reflecting him like a golden god. Heavenly Dao sensed this strong energy of merit, and could not help reducing the power of heaven's punishment. Who? Call. There was a sound of wind, and the dark clouds in the sky quickly dissipated. After a while, only a few feet in size remained. Rumbling. The silver thunder flashed in the dark clouds, with a terrible breath. At this time, Feng Zichen's heart was relieved, and his face was covered with a smile from the rest of his life. Although the momentum of the punishment on this day was still terrifying, but the power had fallen to the range he could accept. Boom! Feng Zichen's eyes are silvery white. A silver thunder blasted down at his forehead. There was a tingling, then a tearing pain. Thundering into the body does not help him temper his body as Feng Zichen thought, but frantically destroys his body and exterminates his vitality. The 5 internal organs are shining, showing colorful colors, rotating endlessly in Feng Zichen's body, forming an oven, pulling the power of thunder in his body into it, suppressing and refining. Boom! 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 In a blink of an eye, there were 3 more thunders. Feng Zichen's whole body was cracking, and blood gushing out like a fountain. The 5 internal organs in the body seemed to be ignited, emitting fire and rushing toward the oven. With the blessing of the 5 internal organs, the oven is in a huge earthquake, and the power of thunder is refined and transformed into innate essence to replenish the 5 internal organs. The light from the 5 internal organs is even brighter. A red chi appears in the heart, a yellow chi appears in the spleen, a white chi appears in the lungs, a blue chi appears in the liver, and a black chi appears in the kidneys. Perceiving the dangerous situation of Feng Zichen, the 5 chi trembles violently, flying out of the 5 internal organs, condensing on top of his head, forming the image of a canopy. The canopy is vaguely looming, extremely unreal, as if it would disperse when the wind blows. Despite this, it still blocked 3 thunders for Feng Zichen before it crashed into pieces. The 5 chi shattered and recondensed in the 5 internal organs of Feng Zichen. Baptized by the thunder, the 5 auras are more powerful. forming a huge handprint on the top of his head, facing the falling thunder. There was a shock, and the giant hand and the thunder died together. The 5 chi shattered, and the body changed again, transforming into an emperor seat in the air, suppressing the last thunderbolt in Feng Ziken's body. At this point, 9 thunderbolts descended, the black clouds in the sky disappeared, and Feng Ziken spent the day's punishment. Heaven's punishment passed, heaven recognizes the emergence of a new system and gives boundless merits. For a time, there were auspicious clouds in the sky, and golden flowers sprinkled, and the boundless and yellow merits gathered, spiritual springs gushing out on the ground, golden lotuses blooming, and several ground veins converge. The sound between heaven and earth is rumbling, the avenue is manifested, the law is manifested, and it is displayed in front of Feng Ziken, helping him to deduce the way forward. A little spiritual light flashed, and various strange sights appeared in Feng Ziken's eyes. He saw the future of himself. The waves in the Sea of God rolled, set off a huge wave, and surged towards the Sea of God with a monstrous force. The huge waves gush out from the Sea of Gods, open the meridians of the whole body, open the acupuncture points of the body, and merge with the soul, transforming the Yinshan. The Yin God ignites the real fire and becomes the Yang God, the Yang God fits into the void and forms the Yuan Shen, the Yuan Shen and the Tao are true, proving the Tao Tei. Tei? Is this your highest achievement in the future? In a trance, Feng Ziken muttered to himself. Then, a strong unwillingness rose from the bottom of my heart. Coming to the prehistoric land, don't you talk about proving the way and becoming a holy, is it impossible for the free and easy Deluo to reach it? Feeling the unwillingness in Feng Ziken's heart, in the Sea of Knowledge, the Hongmeng Dao Yin shines with brilliance, and the Sea of Knowledge reflected in it is purple. The energy of boundless merit surged into Feng Ziken's body, and the injuries he suffered under the punishment of the heavens were quickly recovering. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. In the Sea of Gods, Ming Chuan is expanding rapidly, spewing out more sacred liquid. In an instant, the Shenhai was filled, reaching the limit of the Shenhai realm. A piece of starlight gushes from the depths of his blood, forming the shadow of the vast starry sky before his eyes. Looking at the shadow of the starry sky in front of him, Feng Ziken had a bold idea. Pangu is transformed into the world, the acupuncture point is transformed into a node of the spiritual vein of the earth, the spirit of the acupuncture point rises into the sky and turns into a sky full of stars, echoing the node of the earth. So, why not reshape the meridians and acupoints according to the rotation of the stars, and recreate the Dao body? Since this body's meridians and orifice points can't allow me to prove Deluo, then I will use the star trails as the pulse and the stars as the orifice to retrain the body. With a roar, Feng Ziken collapsed the meridians throughout his body, and suddenly, a sharp pain came. Enduring the severe pain, he mobilized the power in the Divine Sea to reshape the meridians. Feeling Feng Ziken's determination, the great avenue of heaven and earth has changed and a starry sky has evolved. In the starry sky, countless stars shine brightly, among which the 5 main stars of 360 elements are the most. The stars rotate slowly in the starry sky, staggering their tracks. With the help of Hongmeng Dao Yin, Feng Ziken fell into a deep enlightenment, and the endless starry sky reflected in his body. Following the trajectory of the stars, mana is flowing rapidly, opening up new meridians. The meridians reappear, and the acupoints reopen. Spots of light appeared all over Feng Ziken's body, and when counted down, there were 365. What? Feng Ziken roared, the acupuncture points all over his body burst out with bright light, forming a bright mirror behind him, reflecting his own soul. The essence of infinite stars fell from the starry sky, gathered towards Feng Ziken, and formed a divine fetus in his divine sea. The innate spirit reappears, merges with the soul, and falls into the womb of the gods. A light curtain suddenly appeared, covering the entire Terran territory, naturally causing the Terran to panic. The 3 leaders of the human race were about to get up to investigate, and the ancestral temple changed again. Brilliant golden light flashed, and the ancestral temple was transformed from the original rudimentary small stone house into a glorious temple of golden light and 1,000 spirits. The human races around the ancestral temple looked at the changes in the ancestral temple at a loss, not knowing what happened. But then, as if thinking of something, his face showed ecstasy. He couldn't help kneeling towards the ancestral temple, and shouted, "Our Lady has manifested! Our Lady has not forgotten us!" At first, the voice was weak, only a few people shouted. But as the ancestral temple changes were noticed by more people, more and more human races joined the ranks. For a time, the human race shouted in unison, the whole territory was full of deafening noises, and the many masters who were cultivating here were furious. The anger of anger rose, and many masters sprouted maliciousness, and wanted to teach the ants who were yelling below a lesson. But before they could take action, a light curtain flashed over the Terran territory, expelling them from the Terran territory. It turned out that the Nuwa Empress, seeing that the human race was in a difficult situation, couldn't bear it. She deliberately set up an enchantment to build a paradise for the human race. Within this enchantment, people from outside races must not hurt the lives of human races. Not to mention the aliens who were driven out of the enchantment, the three heads of human race walked into the renewed ancestral temple. The ancestral temple is magnificent and magnificent, as if made by colored glaze. Inside, the fragrance of Kyung is lingering, and the rainbow is colorful. Standing in the center is a statue of a deity with a snake tail and a neon feather robe. It is the Nuwa Empress. Under the statue of Feng Zikan knelt there blankly, shocked in his heart, not even paying attention to the three chiefs coming in. In the palace of Wa, the Empress Nuwa pointed at Feng Zikan, and a spiritual bead appeared in his divine sea. My mind sank into the Lingzhu, and I saw a jade book and a colorful glow floating in the air quietly in the boundless congenital aura. The colorful glow is the essence of yin and yang and the 5 elements. The jade book is even more remarkable. It records that the mysterious door has no inheritance at 36 changes of Tian Gang. This is a comprehensive collection of profound sacred abilities that Hung Jun Dao ancestor summed up when he preached in the Zixiao Palace. Lingzhu is also not simple, it contains boundless space, and the innate airflow is endless. Besides, a little bit of aura radiates from its surface, which is less of an innate spiritual object. Feng Zikan hesitated for a while. He was just a little monk in the innate realm, and he hadn't even set foot on the fairy road. How could he attract the attention of the Nuwa Empress and let him give these treasures? There is no love for no reason. If there is, then she must be your mother. Obviously, Nuwa is not Feng Zikan's real mother. In the face of such a treasure, if he is not moved, it is false. But he couldn't understand Nuwa's mind, his heart was full of worries. Ziai Chen, what's wrong with you? Ren Qi's concerned voice came, awakening Feng Zikan from his contemplation, and making him determined. Everything has been delivered, and it is clear that he will not be given a chance to refuse. If he does not go on the way, the consequences can be imagined. Furthermore, people are a saint who is immortal. He is just an acquired creature who has just entered the path of cultivation, and the gap is immeasurable. Being admired by the other party is a great blessing in itself, and this opportunity should be cherished. I'm fine, but the Emperor Wa suddenly revealed his blessing, which made me feel a little stunned. Feng Zikan didn't say the content of the blessing, and Swiren didn't ask. Everyone has their own secrets, and it is boring to ask the bottom of it. The treasures were given to him by Empress Nuwa, how dare he take them out and give them to others? As for the 36 changes of Tian Gang, this is the Suanman's uninherited inheritance. The entire text is written by the Xian Tian Dao Wenshu. Feng Zikan has the help of Nuwa to understand the Suanman Dao Wen. And the Swiren clan, it was Feng Zikan who came out of the 36 changes in Tian Gang, and they couldn't understand it either. Since I can't give anything, I won't say anything. The human race was sheltered by Nuwa, and the future changed. As the leader of the human race, you should understand the situation of the human territory and discuss the future development of the human race. There are many things. Therefore, the three of them worshipped the gods and left. Feng Zikan is the only one left, here to comprehend the 36 changes of Tian Gang. After the light curtain rises, the edge of the Terran territory, near the East China Sea, is boundlessly furious, and the sky is completely dark. Amidst the evil spirits, a faint and deep valley emerged, and the light of the holy sacred gushed out from the deep valley, projecting images of dragons, phoenixes, and unicorns in the air. Entangled with evil spirits, forming a scene of intertwined gods and demons. This kind of mysterious scene attracted the attention of the human masters, and the Sui Ren clan hurriedly led people to come. Has not yet approached this place, the monstrous and fierce aura immediately boiled, engulfing the Swiren clan. At the moment of crisis, the radiant light burst from his body, forcing the evil spirits back. But it was the humane merits in the Swiren clan, who spontaneously protected the Lord, and he took the opportunity to escape. After left the valley, watching the evil spirit floating outside the valley, Swiren's heart palpitated. Regardless of investigating the source of the sage's light in the valley, Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com hurriedly organized manpower to evacuate the people near the valley. Later, this place was listed as a forbidden place, and people of the human race were not allowed to approach it. In the ancestral temple, Feng Zikan is watching 36 changes, choosing the magical powers that suit him. Tian Gang 36 changes, also known as Tian Gang 30 laws, is said to be a gong method, but in fact it is a book of magical powers, which records the training methods of 36 magical powers. It is ridiculous that the people of later generations passed on the supreme treasure of the Suanmen as the art of change by passing it on. Mediation, reversing yin and yang, shifting the stars and fighting, returning to the sky, calling the wind and rain, shaking the mountains and shaking the earth, lifting the clouds and driving the fog, dividing the river into land, vertical golden light, turning the river and stirring the sea, pointing the ground into copper, the 5 elements, the great gate of Liujia, to know the future, whip a mountain and move a rock, come back from the dead, fly into a trace, take the breath with 9 breaths, derive the yu and yang, descend the dragon and the tiger, make up the sky and bathe, push the mountain and fill the sea, turn the stone into gold, stand upright without a shadow, change shape, size Rui, the flower blooms in an instant, the imperial energy of the gods, the insight into the wall, the return of the wind and the fire, the mastering of the 5 thunders, the submerged in the deep ground, the flying sand and the stone, the mountains and the super sea, the throwing beans to become soldiers, and the 7 arrows with nails. These 36 kinds of supernatural powers, contrasted with the great powers of heaven and earth, contain the great powers of the great powers, and they are all supreme supernatural powers. Therefore, the difficulty of cultivation can be imagined. Because Feng Zikan has the help of Hongmeng and Dao Yin, it is impossible to do it overnight. Browse it again, and Feng Zikan found 2 magical powers, which are most suitable for him now. One has the 5 elements to escape, and the other reverses yin and yang. These 2 are the 5 elements of yin and yang, and they can complement each other. In addition, Feng Zikan also has the essence of the 5 elements of yin and yang given by Empress Nuwa, which can be used to cultivate these 2 supernatural powers. Yin and yang, the 5 elements, metamorphoses into all things. After learning these 2 supernatural powers, it will be much easier to learn other supernatural powers in the future. Bei Long's voice was full of majesty, with an overbearing momentum, and questioned towards Feng Zikan. It is a pity that Bei Long is slightly immature, which means that it is not too old. The rolling eyes reveal a little guilty conscience, indicating that its heart is not as calm as on the surface. Seeing Bei Long trying his best to make a serious expression, maintaining a majestic manner, Feng Zikan was amused and couldn't help but teasing, "Don't be afraid, our human race was created by the Nuwa Empress, and the Nuwa Empress is a saint, a great man. How big, who would dare to provoke our human race?" This is a little bit boastful, but anyone with a little bit of knowledge will not believe it. In the prehistoric times, there are too many people who don't pay attention to the human race. If Nuwa's face was so useful, the demons would not wantonly slaughter the human race on the eve of the Lich War. However, this kind of remarks are especially useful for people with noble status and inexperienced people. Noble status shows that he understands the horror of saints, lack of knowledge of world affairs shows that his thinking is simple, and he can't see the true relationship between human race and Nuwa. Sure enough, just as Feng Ziken's voice fell, Bai Long panicked, his eyes widened, and said in a trembling voice, "Impossible, the human race is so weak, how could it be related to the Nuwa Empress?" Feng Ziken pointed to the top of his head without speaking. Feeling the aura of good fortune contained in the light curtain above his head, Bai Long became even more guilty, barely remaining calm, and shouted, "What's the matter? I'm the granddaughter of Zilong, the princess of the dragon clan. If you kill me, Nuwa Niang can't protect you either." After finishing speaking, Bai Long seemed to be inspired, and he didn't tremble anymore, and gave Feng Ziken a majestic glance. Feng Ziken would really be shocked, knowing that her identity is not simple, but she did not expect her to come from such a big background. Fortunately, I found out early and saved her in time. This is Zilong's granddaughter. If something goes wrong in the human race, the human race will be over. It should be noted that the ancestral dragon did not die, but the incarnation of the blue dragon sacred beast to suppress the East Pole. While shocked, a doubt emerged in his mind: the dragon race sits on the world, and is once the overlord of the world. There are countless treasures. As the granddaughter of the ancestor dragon, his identity is so precious. Net caught? Also, why did she come to Terran territory alone? Unless, she is lying. Perceiving the suspicion in Feng Ziken's eyes, Bai Long groaned, and the boundless noble aura gushed out of her body, forming a scene of 10,000 beasts facing the blue. Seeing this, Feng Ziken no longer doubted that she was definitely related to Zilong. 10,000 beasts Chowking means that after the ancestor dragon sends out the dragon power, the heaven and the earth converge, and the aura of the vast emperor is scattered around the land and is worshipped by the primordial spirits. Dragon Girl can release such a breath, there is no need to question her identity. Since it is the ancestral dragon, it is my noble guest of the human race. I was slightly rude before, but please forgive me. The dragon race is close to the human race, and the dragon identity is used to get in touch with the dragon race, which is beneficial to the human race. Feng Ziken's attitude becomes cordial. Just no. Seeing Feng Ziken's attitude change, Bai Long became more dignified, and his tail waved and said proudly. Seeing Bai Long's look that you are so sensible, Feng Ziken was speechless for a while. This place is far away from the Dragon Palace, it is better for the princess to stay in the human race temporarily, and wait for the clan leader to send someone to the Dragon Palace to inform the Dragon Palace to come and pick up Her Highness. After a while, Feng Ziken said slowly. Can't let this dragon leave alone, if something happens to her on the road, it is hard to guarantee that the dragon will not be involved in the human race. Was caught by the human race, listening to them talking about whether she was roasting or boiled, she was held in the palm of her hand since she was a child, then after this kind of battle, she was almost frightened. In this case, how dare she go back alone? Originally intended to stay, but Zheng Xiao didn't know how to speak, but now, hearing Feng Ziken's words to stay, he quickly agreed. Seeing Bai Long's consent, Feng Ziken took her to the ancestral temple. First, he worshipped Empress Nuwa, and then went to search for the Swiren clan, and asked him to send someone to the Dragon Palace. On the way to the ancestral temple, under the guidance of Feng Ziken, Bai Long, who is inexperienced in the world, has a clear account of his origin. Bai Long was named Ao Shui, the youngest child of the Dragon Emperor and the Dragon Empress. It was just that the Dragon Empress encountered the East China Sea beast riots when she was pregnant, and was injured by the beasts, which led to the birth of Ao Shui early, congenital insufficiency, and low strength. As for how Ao Shui got there, she can only say that she is unlucky. Ao Shui originally played in the Dragon Palace, somehow inspired the undercover of the demon race to stay behind the dragon race, and teleport to the land of the human race. In a daze, he was caught in a net and caught him. The spiritual net of merit is very powerful. It can block mana and suppress the soul, causing her to have a corpse of spiritual treasures, which cannot be used. In a blink of an eye, 30 years have passed. At the speed of the human messenger, at this time, there should be half the distance from the Dragon Palace. Ao Shui still stayed in human race. Ziwei Peak, the small mountain where Feng Zikan was when he opened up the Sea of God, has been transformed by the way of heaven and has become a spiritual land. This is the starting point of his path. In order to show his determination, Feng Zikan named this place Ziwei Peak. Now, Feng Zikan is here, learning innate Taoism from Ao Shui. Dao language is the language of the innate gods and demons, and the innate gods and demons are the manifestations of the great avenues of heaven and earth, and their every move is explaining the great avenues they represent. Their language is the language of the great road, their voice, like the whisper of the great road, has great power. At the beginning, Ao Shui didn't agree, until Feng Zikan took out a few magical power exchanges in the 36 transformation of Tian Gang, and Ao Shui readily agreed. 36 changes, 36 top gods and demons, 36 kinds of heaven and earth rules, the magical powers that were sorted out by the ancestor himself, are not the castrated version of the later generations, but are truly earth-shaking magical powers. The 3 magical powers are similar to the natural magical powers of the dragons, and they can mutually confirm and enhance the power of the dragon's magical powers. Didn't know if his realm was too low, or because of acquired life, Feng Zikan learned the pronunciation of dozens of words after studying for decades. Taoism has 1 yuan, a total of 129,600 words. From the perspective of Feng Zikan learning one every year, it takes hundreds of thousands of years to learn it. Thinking of this, he got a headache and couldn't help asking, is there any quick way to eat dragons? Innate creatures, there are spiritual water when they are thirsty, and spiritual fruit when they are hungry, which is really not good, and the innate aura that fills the entire predicament. Where will it be like an acquired life, with the worries of birth, old age, sickness and death, and the suffering of hunger and cold? Therefore, except for the human race, the entire primordial land will not light a fire to cook. Ao Shui has occupied his clay pot since he ate the meat soup cooked by Feng Zikan and ate every day. However, Feng Zikan was not Ao Shui's opponent, so he couldn't get back the clay pot, so he gave her a nickname and took some verbal advantage. Ao Shui gave Feng Zikan a look, and said, yes. Innate gods and demons are born to master Taoism, you can turn yourself into innate gods and demons. The innate gods and demons are metamorphosed in the Great Road. Its form is Taoism and its language is Taoism. Feng Zikan is not even the innate creatures, let alone the innate gods and demons that are higher than the innate creatures. Smiled wryly, Feng Zikan was about to say something. Suddenly, the valley set by the Swiren clan as a forbidden place changed again. The fierce and sacred auras have fought for many years. Today, the winner is divided. The light of the sacred sage shot out in all directions, forming patches of auspicious clouds in the air, and the fierce and evil spirit that had enveloped the valley all the year round was replaced by the auspicious spirit, revealing the sacred scene in the valley. The auspicious atmosphere in the deep valley is full of chrysanthemum orchids, exotic flowers and weeds, bamboo and pine trees, all the time. At the same time, a series of innate auras rushed out from the deep valley, forming phantom beasts in the air, roaring at the sky. Feeling this breath, Feng Zikan and Ao Shui's spirit of the beast in their bodies was restless. This is. The two looked at each other and rushed towards the deep valley. Ao Shui's figure moves, and the clouds and mist follow each other. Feng Zikan's figure moved, turned into a golden light, and flew away. It was the 36 changes of Tiangang, the vertical golden light. When the two rushed to the deep valley, many human masters had already rushed over and stood looking out of the valley. The two did not stay, and rushed straight towards the valley, but they were stopped by the Sui people who came here. The Swiren clan is one of the 3 Tei golden immortals of the human race. Ao Shui has not yet entered the heavenly immortal for the first time, and Feng Zikan is only in a state of innate consummation. The Swiren clan takes them without any effort. Making mischief, Yannicka doesn't understand anything, so you rush in. What should you do if you encounter danger? Swiren scolded them after stopping them. Feng Zikan admitted her mistake obediently. Ao Shui was a little unconvinced, and wanted to argue a few words, but after Feng Zikan quietly pulled her a few times, she muttered a few words quietly and stopped talking. Wow! In the deep valley, a dragon shadow flew out, and a shocking dragon roar erupted. The people outside the deep valley were dizzy and fell from the air. Seemed to sense the chi of ancestral dragon, and the shadow of the dragon flashed, bringing Ao Shui into the valley. When the surrounding human masters saw this scene, they were shocked, for fear that Ao Shui had an accident, and the dragon race angered the human race, ignoring the danger, and chased in the valley. Ao Shui was arrested, Feng Zikan was anxious, and all the merits rushed out of his body, forming a cloud of celebration on top of his head. Another 5 chi flew out, forming a 5-color canopy under King Yun, hanging down the 5 elements of chi, and protecting Feng Zikan in it. Do a good job of defense. The wind and purple chen turned into golden light, and entered the valley. When the Sui Renchi saw Feng Zikan enter, he also wanted to chase in, but was stopped by the people around him. The Swiren clan is the head of the human clan, how could he be in danger? Don't worry about the patriarch, the Zikan family has a body of merit, and the ordinary Tei Jinxian can't break his defense. Yu persuaded from the side. Actually, he was concerned about Swiren's face. He still didn't say a word. You can't break his defense if you can break his defense. You can't go up and fight if you can break his defense. Swiren thought so, and waited outside the valley. From the outside, the valley is no more than 1,000 miles away, but as soon as you enter here, you will find that the place is extremely vast, no less than 1,000,000 miles. The fragrance is permeated here, the aura is strong, and there are elixir everywhere. If there are no corpses everywhere, it can be called the top blessed land. Feng Zikan had just entered here, and what attracted him was not the elixir everywhere, but the corpse of a phoenix. The phoenix fell to the ground like a huge mountain, with a huge claw mark on its body. Even if tens of thousands of years have passed, the wound is still as new, as if there is still blood dripping, and the surrounding elixir is born from its blood. The phoenix lay there quietly, with a gleam of spiritual light on his body, indicating its innate identity. Judging from the immortal aura emanating from above the aura, it had at least the realm of a golden immortal before it was alive. He stepped forward to pick up a potion and took a closer look. Feng Zikan shook his head. The potion was useless. It was full of aura, but in fact, it was full of evil spirits. I took it boldly, and it was even more evil. The foundation is ruined. When is heavy, the evil aura invades the true spirit and loses its intelligence. Like a unicorn encountered by Feng Zikan in his childhood, he becomes a fierce beast hated by the heavens and the earth. Checked all the elixir, Feng Zikan found that these elixir had been corroded by the evil spirits. He sighed unfortunately, and he planned to leave. As for the body of the phoenix, he dared not make any decisions at all. Even though the body of Phoenix had been dead for many years, the breath radiating from his body could still shock him to death. Feng Zikan was able to get close to the phoenix's body entirely by virtue of his strong energy. Just as he turned and left, Hongmengdayan suddenly flew out of the womb, hung in the air, and burst out with purple light, covering the body of the phoenix. In the purple light, the phoenix body suddenly got up and screamed, transforming into a Redrid innate aura, wrapped in the innate aura, swimming in the purple light. Seeing this, the light emitted by Hongmengdayan is more prosperous. Reading www.yuuganchu.com Calm's crimson innate aura is getting smaller and smaller, and finally, it turns into the innate runes and blends into the innate aura. The spiritual light flashed, turning into a red golden light full of runes, and under the leadership of Hongmengdayan, it fell into the womb of God. The red light entered the fetus of God, and another 50 acupuncture points in Feng Zikan's body were lit, attracting stars to fall and illuminate the fetus of God. Suddenly, the real fire in Feng Zikan's womb became more vigorous, a large amount of yin qi was refined, and the Liang God went further. In the past 30 years, Feng Zikan has practiced hard every day. Not long ago, he lighted 108 acupoints, drew the light of purple stars down, and formed a purple palace in the sea of consciousness. After that, the starlight fell into the divine fetus, and the divine fetus went one step further and ascended into the purple palace. The fetus of the gods grows, changes are re-emerged, and the aura goes further, igniting the pure fire of pure yang. Yin Shen was baptized by pure yang and real fire, and a trace of yin qi was refined, making it more solid. Acupoints illuminate 108, which means that the womb has reached consummation. Under the calcination of real fire, 500 years later, the yin will automatically become the yang and break the womb. Continue to light up the acupuncture points, the real fire will be more vigorous, and the speed of the yin shen transforming the yang shen will increase. The 365 acupuncture points will be illuminated, and the yang shen will be established. Now that the red light enters the body, another 50 acupuncture points are opened in Feng Zikan's body, the real fire is more vigorous, and the time for Yang Shen to be born has been greatly shortened. Hongmeng Yin fell into the center of the yin god's eyebrows at the moment when the divine womb entered the Ziwei palace. From then on, Feng Zikan urged the Hongmeng Yin to no longer use the energy of merit. However, said that the red light fell into the womb of the gods and turned into an equatorial road mark at the center of the Yinshen's eyebrows. Suzaku Phantom was helped by this, and immediately changed from imaginary to real, and its power surged.